This is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years.
Tonight on Cronkite News, information about the FBI's gambling-related arrest around the NBA, and hear from one notorious former mobster with ties to the Valley.
Plus, cancer's impact is felt in nearly every community. Tonight, the stories behind the struggle and the hope that keeps patients fighting.
And using artificial intelligence to fight crime. Find out how members of our community are using modern technology to fight online predators. Good evening and welcome to this Thursday edition of Cronkite News. I'm Keon Russell.
And I'm Courtney DeWallaby. Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with the talk of the sports world, a betting scandal resulting in the arrests of dozens of people.
That's right, Courtney, and amongst those arrested, several NBA stars and alleged members of the Mafia. The head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, Chauncey Billups, and Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier were arrested this morning, along with 30 more people in two separate cases. They're accused of making millions by rigging sports bets and poker games with the help of several families with ties to the Mafia. The head of the FBI, Kash Patel, talked about the alleged criminal enterprise earlier today.
Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Casa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families.
We have not yet heard a response to their arrest from the Billups and Rozier, but the NBA Players Association says the presumption of innocence is paramount to its players.
The NBA has placed Billups and Rozier on immediate leave from their teams while the NBA reviews the indictments. And coming up in just a few minutes, how one notorious former mobster here in the Valley is reacting to the news.
I think it's greed. I don't think it's fear. Why shouldn't he make a $10,000 or $20,000 bet?
Staying with national news and federal deployments in major U.S. cities, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the Illinois Accountability Commission this morning. The governor says the new commission will create a record of what he calls abuses by federal law enforcement agents.
I have encouraged the people of Illinois to use their phones and to record everything they are witnessing and post it on social media. But we must now take this a step further and create an official public record.
The move comes after the president deployed the National Guard to Chicago, Portland, and Washington earlier this year.
Taking a look at news across Arizona, plans to build a new gas pipeline are in the works that could potentially impact gas prices in our state.
That's right. The plan calls for a 1,300-mile pipeline to be built from Texas to Arizona. The operation is a joint venture between Kinder Morgan and Phillips 66 and would be completed by 2029.
More than 42,000 new cases of cancer will be diagnosed in Arizona this year. That's according to the American Cancer Society.
And as Cronkite News reporter Kennedy Humble tells us, a routine checkup could be the difference between life and death.
It all started with a routine checkup.
In April, I started feeling like a lump, that it was not painful, it was not dripping anything, and it's like, that's how they checked out.
She went to a doctor in Arizona and then another for a second opinion where her worst suspicions were confirmed.
They found out that it was like it was a 7.2 size of tumor. So in my case, it was like stage 3 cancer, and it was like the worst one.
Stage 3 hormonal breast cancer involves a large tumor that has already began to spread. Treatment usually includes chemotherapy, surgery, and hormonal therapy to kill cancer cells.
It was hard to be diagnosed, and the first thing, I was next to my daughter, and I saw my daughter's eyes like getting watery, but she's like, oh, she was in disbelief.
In Arizona, more than 5,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer each year, according to the Arizona Department of Health Services. Arizona State University's executive director of the Biodesign Institute, Joshua LeBaire, has been studying cancer with the university for years.
The approach we have been interested in involves the use of what are called autoantibodies. These are antibodies the body makes against proteins that are abnormal in cancer patients.
More than 14,000 people could die of cancer in Arizona by 2025, according to projections by the American Cancer Society.
Cancer is a disease of misbehaving proteins. These are proteins that are not following the regulation that tells cells when to divide and when not to divide.
Guerrero will continue to have surgeries and treatment for her cancer, but she remains positive for her future.
My grandmother, just in closing, told me, okay, when there's faith, there's hope. When there's hope, there's love.
In Phoenix, Kennedy Humble, Cronkite News.
Thanks, Kennedy. We are less than 2 weeks away from Election Day coming up on November 4th. And with many important issues on the ballot, you want to make sure your vote is counted.
So like she said, make sure your ballot is returned on time. This year will be an all-mail election, which means all registered voters should have already received a ballot. Tomorrow is the last day to request a replacement ballot if you didn't already get one. And October 28th, next Tuesday, is the last day to mail in your ballot. You can also drop it off at more than 40 voting locations by 7 p.m. on November 4th. Coming up next, artificial intelligence is taking on online predators.
How new technology is helping to catch criminals before they strike.
It's nice to know that any little interaction can make a big difference in the long run.
How this cutting-edge technology is protecting children in ways we haven't seen before. Coming up on Cronkite News.
Plus, fall is here, but will our temperatures increase? I'll have your full forecast coming up.
This is where Cronkite can be creative.
Welcome back to Cronkite News. There's some big news in the housing market, Courtney.
Yes, September saw the biggest increase in home sales since February, according to the National Association of Realtors. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate falling recently to now under 6.5%, and the September median price for a home, $415,000. Tons of people trying to cash in on a tight market where sellers outnumber buyers by 500,000, according to Redfin.
A more rotten story here. Be careful cooking with eggs at home. More than 6 million eggs are being recalled, according to the FDA. The Ken's Hens and Black Sheep Egg Company both concerned after finding salmonella. Those companies distribute their eggs all over the country. So far, no illnesses have been reported.
Now make sure this next meal is safe, Keon, but if you want steak and eggs, here's an interesting situation that might affect beef prices.
That's right, Courtney. While some ranchers have complained about President Trump wanting to import beef from Argentina, he says tariffs have supported the industry.
I helped them a lot. I put tariffs on things coming in to the country, including beef. And that gave them a chance to finally have a decent industry. By putting tariffs on, they've been able to make a few dollars. They've been able to have an industry. But I also want to keep the beef prices low.
Back here in the Valley, a group of volunteers in Arizona are working on a technological approach to catching child predators. Cronkite News reporter Charlie Vicario spoke to the volunteers who say they are using AI as a tool to protect kids.
Hundreds of thousands of text messages.
This is live action right now.
Disrupting tens of thousands of buyers.
We have talked to so many people, and we were able to pull a lot of guys out of the pipeline.
Guys who are looking to buy sex online. The United States Sentencing Commission found that men committed 93% of sex crimes last year. And that's why men like these two say men can end it.
And it's nice to know that any little interaction can make a big difference in the long run.
But it's not the police who are intervening first. The nonprofit thought they should meet the buyers where they start, their phones. It's called Street Grace, and it partnered with tech companies to build Gracie, an AI chatbot that poses as a young girl. They use the chatbot to educate or to find suspects.
The blue is the buyer, so he's just chatting away, and they hit the point where he says, okay, how old are you? The bot says, I'm still 15.
Nick Lembo, Arizona's executive director for Street Grace, posts decoy ads on websites buyers already use. When a buyer responds, the AI begins a conversation collecting data.
Here he gives a thumbs up, so he's fine with having a pedophile. It's AI until we hit this button, take control, then a little text area comes up and we can text the buyers back.
Volunteers like Sam Sylvester take over the text to educate the potential buyers.
What you're doing is actually wrong and you're contributing to human trafficking.
But Street Grace says ending exploitation takes more than technology.
What we're trying to do is crack humanity. Is there somebody there that still has a conscience?
And when human interaction isn't enough, they turn to police.
We get the phone numbers of these people, and so we'll just pass that on to law enforcement.
Limbo hopes each message helps stop a crime before it happens. In Phoenix, Charlie Vicario, Cronkite News.
Street Grace says beyond volunteers, Gracie has 10 full-time engineers who continue adding new features and ways to interfere with buyers. A major storm is brewing in the Atlantic Ocean, and it could become a major hurricane.
That's right, the storm is slowly making its way through the Caribbean. The storm named Melissa already caused severe flooding in the Dominican Republic. Forecasters say it is on track to become a major hurricane by Saturday. If that happens, it will be the 5th hurricane of the season and the first to spin up inside the Caribbean.
Well, Courtney, there's no storms heading our way here in the Valley. It's looking like it's setting up to be a pretty good weekend.
That's right, and Erica Hoyt joins us now from the Cronkite Weather Center with our forecast.
Perfect evening conditions for your Thursday evening. 78 by 7 p.m., cooling down to 72 by 10 p.m. Perfect evening to sit out on the patio or even walk the dog. But we will cool down. Our morning lows, 63 in Phoenix, below freezing in Flagstaff, Grand Canyon, and Window Rock. You definitely want to bundle up there. However, those layers will shed. It will be 61 in Flagstaff, 63 in the Grand Canyon, 92 in Yuma and Lake Havasu City. Very warm over there. Now, where's the moisture? There is no moisture for Arizona, very dry. We'll have influx of clouds coming through on your Saturday evening, but then they'll push out by Sunday. There is an atmospheric river heading Oregon and Washington. That'll continue to rotate. You'll have continued storms through that. And if you're going to Saturday night's football game, ASU versus Houston, 84 will be the high for 5 p.m. for the kickoff. And it's perfect weather for football. Now, 8-day forecast, we are in the average 87 through your Sunday and Monday. We'll crank up those temperatures to your low to mid 90s, 91 on Halloween. From the Cronkite Weather Center, I'm Erica Hoyt.
Thanks, Erica. Well, the Cronkite Sports Report is up next. Lachlan McTagg joins us now with a look at what's coming up, including new details on the NBA sports betting scandal. Lachlan?
Yeah, Courtney, lots to talk about tonight with the scandal that has sent shockwaves through the NBA. We're going to take a closer look at the story.
Everybody's got a reason. Greed. The government is the same thing, no different.
A former mobster with ties to the Valley talks about the case. More of what Sammy the Bull has to say about it, as well as what the FBI says when we return. Welcome to the Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Lachlan McTagg. Earlier in the newscast, we heard from FBI Director Kash Patel about the NBA betting scandal that took the sports world by storm. Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier were among the 34 charged in connection with illegal sports betting and gambling schemes. Kavish Siddhartha joins us from our Sports Bureau with more on the connections to organized crime.
According to the indictment, there were 4 major crime families involved in the scheme. Among them, the Gambino family, which has some ties to Arizona. I spoke with former underboss for the Gambino family, Sammy the Bull Gravano, who now lives here in Arizona. He said the motivations behind player gambling is simple, and the playbook to get them to cheat is pretty standard.
And you take them out. You spend money on them. You make them drink. You make them party. There's some beautiful broads. You bring them around. You make them one of the boys. It's not making fear. Fear, he's liable to go and rat you out. But he's now enjoying what oh, wow, this is great. Money, cars, broads, all these guys, I love it. And you're going to make a ton of money. And it's not going to be just once. We're going to do it this time, but we'll do it down the road at different points.
Gravano also says he's not surprised gambling as a whole has taken off in Arizona. He says legal gambling, legitimized with government oversight, is still about greed. And now the government gets to make money. As for this scandal, the NBA has placed Billups and Rozier on indefinite leave while they review the case. We're sure to hear a lot more in the coming days. In the Sports Bureau, Kavish Siddhartha, Cronkite News.
We did ask Suns head coach Jordan Ott about the indictments, and he said he was aware, but has no comment. After an offseason of big trades and a new coaching hire, the Suns played their first game of the season and put the new additions to the test. It wasn't a perfect start, but the crowd stayed behind the team the whole game. Fans packed the Mortgage Matchup Center last night for the team's home openers, and they had something to cheer about early on in the ballgame, with Ryan Dunn offering a big rejection over point guard Dennis Schroeder. And the team was down 17 at halftime, but they ended up clawing their way back into the game thanks to plays like this, a Dylan Brooks lob up top for Mark Williams, who completed the alley-oop slam. And the team grabbed the lead late in the fourth quarter thanks to plays like this from Devin Booker. A clutch mid-range jumper in the final minute of the fourth quarter sealed the victory. Here's what Booker had to say post-game.
We just came out in the third quarter with the right mindset. We started off the game slow, weren't making shots. And, you know, this whole preseason and training camp, we've been making everything. So, you know, I think it's a good test for us to, you know, see how we have to respond when the shots aren't falling.
Taking a look at the rest of the first 5 games for the Phoenix Suns, they'll head out for a 3-game road trip, starting with a back-to-back Friday and Saturday, starting off in LA to play the Clippers and then going to Denver to play the Nuggets before concluding the road trip against Utah on October 27th. The team will be back home next Wednesday against the Memphis Grizzlies, as fans here in the Valley are eager for a fun season from the Suns. ASU football is way past their opening night, but the same excitement is still there, especially after last week's upset win over Texas Tech. With Houston coming to town, they'll need the energy to stay alive and get another Sun Devil win. The Cougars are led by Connor Wigman. He's a transfer from Texas A&M and has led this team to a 6-1 record, most recently throwing 3 touchdowns to beat the University of Arizona. You could say that's a result of a good Houston coaching staff, but Coach Dillingham thinks coaches get too much credit for their quarterbacks, at least when it comes to him and Sam Levitt.
Literally the play where you charged the line, looked like you were going to run, then pulled up and threw a pass at the last second. I'm thinking that was like a design play, but was it live? Was it in? Really?
That's called Sam.
Yeah.
That's why I say you guys give us coaches way too much credit. Him.
Sam, that was improv?
Yeah, we were running, we're in empty, and they brought cover 0, and saw JT's on a little 5-yard out, so I ran at him, and he just turned it upfield and found him on the play. So, hell of a play by him.
Now to the football team with far less luck than the Sun Devils. The Cards go into the bye with last week's game fresh on their minds. A big factor was due to the Packers' defense, led by Micah Parsons, who caused 3 sacks. Head coach Jonathan Gannon states that preparation is key when facing a top pass rusher like Parsons.
Obviously, he's a premium player. Obviously, we had a plan for him. Can you double him every play? No, you can't. And he made his plays. Credit to him. Do we need to do a better job versus elite edge rushers when we play them? Probably, yeah.
Taking a look at the rest of the schedule, the Packers won't be the last good pass rush they face. Not even close. The Rams, Bucks, Falcons, and Texans have all shown to have fast and improved defenses. Now is as good of a time as any to rest up and figure out who's playing quarterback for the remainder of the season. Even with the Cardinals on a bye, high schools and universities still have football to play, and not everyone is playing tackle. Here's Alex Medina with a couple of Olympic hopefuls playing flag football here in the Valley.
Matt Stone fought for nearly 2 decades to have flag football sanctioned by the AIA. Now his team has remained unbeaten since 2023 and is nearing its 2nd undefeated season in a row.
There are only 2 things you have to do to be successful. You have to make the playoffs, and you have to win your last game.
That was what he was told when he first picked up the clipboard at Hamilton. And ever since, the team has taken each game one by one.
We celebrate our victory today, and then tomorrow, unfortunately, our record goes back to 0-0.
Not only is the Huskies coach proud of his team's success, but sophomore quarterback Marley Phillips knows this kind of success does not come often.
It means a lot, that's the expectation that we're living up to, and we just got to keep grinding week to week because everyone's going to bring their best for us.
But it's not just the team that has gained national attention. Senior star Samaya Taylor-Jenkins is hoping to become a part of the 2028 Olympic roster. If that's the case, she will be one of the youngest on the team.
I'm very excited in general just to be given the opportunity to try out for the Olympic team.
She's the best big game athlete I've ever seen. And it's in those moments, whether it's a tournament championship game, a state championship game, a rivalry game, that is the one person I know you can always depend on to take her game up to a different level.
And while the support Samaya has received has helped her branch out from the rest, it all begins with Stone himself.
I drove over to California to watch her compete. It's not just about what we do here. It's like I want to see you succeed as an individual too.
And while many may doubt the star athlete, she knows there is nothing to prove.
I know when we step on this field, it's 100% go time and 100% domination.
In Chandler, Alexandra Medina, Cronkite News.
That's it for tonight's Cronkite Sports Report. I'm Lachlan McTagg. Thank you for joining us. Now back to Keon and Courtney at the desk.
Coming up next, 2 California farm workers are being honored for their heroism.
That's right, Keon. Quick-thinking farm workers jumped into danger to save students. More of the harrowing story and how they did it coming up after the break.
As a teacher, you just want to reach people. You want to make a difference. You want to help them. I have an opportunity to do something I never imagined I would be able to do. Go out and build the best biology class the world has ever seen. When you go into Dreamscape Learn, you put on a set of goggles and you can go anywhere. You can be anyone and do anything. The thing about Arizona State University is they're always thinking about what's next. We can create virtual reality experiences so that you can learn by exploring in a virtual world the way that scientists explore in the real world. And kids can feel that. All these emotions are what help the brain encode information. When I see a student come out of VR, the look on their face is nothing like I've ever seen when I finish a lecture. They look so happy to be there in that moment. You know that you've reached them.
Welcome back. A bus holding nearly 20 students caught on fire in Madera County in California.
But luckily, 2 farm workers happened to be at the right place at the right time. 2 men were fixing a broken tractor just southwest of the Madera. That's when they spotted the flames engulfing the back of the bus, and without hesitation, they ran to help. It wouldn't restart, and it was holding nearly 20 students. What started as a routine day in the fields quickly turned into a life-saving mission thanks to the actions of 2 brave men. That's it for tonight's edition of Cronkite News. I'm Keon Russell.
And I'm Courtney DeWallaby. Thank you for joining us.
And to see top Arizona stories anytime, log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.